Welcome to the Daily Influence, where our mission is to deliver a daily dose of positive influence that can uplift you personally or be shared within your sphere of influence. While not every episode may directly apply to your unique circumstances, we strive to provide insights and inspiration relevant to most people's daily, weekly, and monthly lives. Whether you are tuning in during the morning, noon, or night, the Daily Influence is here for you. Listen, share, and embrace the power of influence in your life.
It's really great to be back and invited to share some thoughts with you again on behalf of the Iron Team series. And I'm here today with Debbie Halls-Evans, also from And. So Debbie, this is your first appearance, isn't it, on the Iron Team series?
It is. I missed out on the last opportunity, but I'm determined to be on this one. I want to apologise. I have got a little bit of a chest infection, but I'm all in.
And my voice is also slightly off, slightly lower than normal, but nonetheless, we want to honour and extend our own influences today with you as part of the Iron Team series. And Brian's asked us to share our thoughts about what particular word?
Pivot.
So, Debbie, what do you think pivot is?
Well, I actually think it's got many different interpretations. And what I would like us to focus on specifically today is using and understanding how do we pivot when we're within something, so we're doing something. So there's many different interpretations. I want us to focus on how do we pivot with the ability to move on.
Okay, so as opposed to pivot where you're being completely interrupted.
Well, I think what I'm explaining is that we have many different ways of using the word pivot. You could pivot in a project, you could pivot in your business direction or your strategy or tactical actions. But I think what I'd like us to focus on, I think the biggest area that most of us can benefit from is how do I move on when I'm stuck in something or I'm getting distracted. And I think it's really important that we can actually have tools and techniques that allow us to move through and move on and get stuff done.
That's a really good idea. So the benefit being you're not actually stuck. You know, I envisage it looking like you're in some bitumen or tar and your shoes are sticking to the floor and you get lost, and then suddenly in that moment, time is spent that you don't get back. So when you recognize you're in that spot, to be able to say, right, I need to move.
Well, I also think there's lots of other ways. So think about when you're just constantly distracted. In today's society, we are literally got notifications pinging left, right and centre. I think we've also got a paradigm of multitasking and what the layers that actually brings to the ability to pivot and move into doing things. The other things that I've got that I'd like to cover is deadlines and tasks. So, you know, the understanding of the one priority. And I think my final bit, which is probably the most important bit and the bit that we talk about a lot across our business and our coaching, is the importance of life balance and how do we influence and impact that positively by pivoting. Okay,
great. So what do you want to do first?
So I think they all sit under the same thing. So I think the tools and techniques that I'd love to share today are the ones that can actually help you deal with these constant distractions, the ones that can help you move from multitasking to single tasking and actually getting stuff done, being able to deal with deadlines and tasks, and then ultimately the benefit being you're going to have great life balance. So I've got a list of a few things that we can talk through.
Let's get one going then.
All right. So the first one, believe it or not, I've chosen is And.
Okay.
And the acronym of And ultimately what our business is built on is taking action in the now and doing something different. And I think this is a great way of pivoting yourself out of something where you may be stuck or distracted or suddenly deviated into a completely different perspective.
You know, Debbie, sometimes one of the things that you can do to do something different is a physical signal into your brain. What somebody we know very well, Bob Gay, claps her hands, doesn't she, and shuffles her papers. But she sends a clear signal to her brain and says, right, it's time to get focused. So I love that. That's doing something different.
And also there's a neurological element there, right? So we teach NLP as well, but also allowing ourselves, our brain sits in predictive patterns. And the sooner you can create a pattern interrupt, so not only are we giving the AND as a technique, but also pattern interrupt and the ability to just literally shift your brain's patterns out of what it's always done is really going to be beneficial.
Intercepting yourself.
Perfect.
What's next?
Format, one of my absolute favourites. So format is a technique, and if you actually go onto our website, Dave, you can actually get a little freebie right now.
Which website?
www.And.Scot. If you go on there and sign up to our newsletter, you'll also get the actual workbook for format. And format simply, and we're running on shorter time, but it's the ability to sit and actually ask yourself 4 questions. So the first question is, why am I stuck right now? Why do I need to pivot? Why do I need to think about this differently? Why am I in this situation? So you're exploring a why.
Next question.
The next question is what? What do I need to do right now? What do I need to do to understand better?
And that's where and could come in, isn't it? What
Perfect.
action is it?
Yeah.
That's where you could do the A and the N
Well,
together.
we talk about layering, right? So this is, we're going to talk about multitasking in a minute, but we're layering. So we're doing with, not more. So we're doing with. So we've got why, we've got what, and then we talk about the how. How am I going to, and then list out the things that you need to be doing. How do I understand this better? How do I have a better perspective?
Great.
And then the final one is the what if, and my all-time favourite questions, because it's about curiosity as well. But when we're in those situations where we're getting distracted or lost, or suddenly we've lost direction, is asking the what if and allowing yourself to see the pros and benefits. And there's many other tools and techniques that go with that.
One comment from me here is, with a what if, in the spirit of this shorter podcast episode, is be clear about the what if as a win or the what if as a pain moment, because we're all motivated differently.
Yes.
Depending on who you are, you might be pain driven, going, oh, if this goes wrong, I'm going to end up feeling like this. Then great, take the action, get started. Or if you're a reward based person, by all means, work out what the reward is and then still go for it all the same. So what do we do about this multitasking then?
So the paradigm of multitasking is that it's been sold to us that it means that we're really brilliant at what we're doing, or that actually you're going to get more done. What it does is the opposite. We reduce the quality of our work. We create more pressure on ourselves. This is a perfect example, is that we end up pivoting left, right and centre, and we never finish anything.
Yeah.
And our next technique ties into that. So the next technique is something from what you've coached for many years, and it's about do the task 100% compliantly before you challenge it. So finish the job. And I think this is really important.
So to extend your influence.
Yes.
To extend your relationships, and the thing you've decided is your influence.
Yes.
I believe that's how Brian talks about it, is that you have to finish the thing you're doing to the best that you can with your total concentration.
Completely.
So actually what we're saying is ditch the multitasking.
Yeah. Just get
put
rid
it
of
down.
it. Stop it.
Yep.
Single task. Focus on the single task and do it. And then go and have these conversations using A&D, using format. And you'll actually see that you're pivoting in a direction that's beneficial to not only you, but everybody else and whatever it is you want to achieve. And then the final one is one that we absolutely love across our business channels. And it's the ability to just stop. And it's this oxymoron kind of feeling that you feel it's so contradictory to everything that you're doing. To actually pivot and do things better and get a result that you want, you got to stop.
Yeah.
And it's the scariest thing when everything feels like it's piling up and piling up.
Let's give somebody a real example really briefly. When I was 39, I learned to swim, and I only learned the breaststroke, right? What's great about this, if you can swim, just imagine being me. The only way to go faster in the pool was to slow down the technique.
Yeah.
Real speed doesn't ever appear fast. It's controlled. It's quite something. And you have to stop to go faster. Great. So, Debbie, anything else you want to add as a surprise guest in this episode for Brian? And I can't wait to get his feedback afterwards about your surprise appearance, because he asked me to do it and you're here, which is even better.
So I think for me, it's just making sure that we understand what we've shared. And I think it's looking at, these are all layered benefits. So thinking about your and in that moment when it feels like you're not sure what direction and you know you have to pivot, what action do I need to take? What am I going to do now? And what am I going to do differently? And then understanding that you need to be questioning those things so you can really get the benefit. Remember, of all this is life balance and getting stuff done. So when I ask the why, the what, the how, and the what if questions, I'm going to be able to create myself a sense of direction and structure that's going to help me do it. Getting the task finished, whatever the task is, do it, then challenge it. Really important. And finally, before you even start any of this stuff, stop. Just stop. And then you're going to see that you're going to pivot in a direction that's going to benefit you and many others.
And in that moment, we've been Dave Evans
and Debbie Halls-Evans
as guests on the Iron Team series. And may we wish you every success with extending your influence.